Yes. It's only me and you. Everybody else is usually, yeah. You can put it behind you. Ni sawa, itaoneka ama ni hapo out of shot eh? Sawa. Hello, East Africa, and welcome to your world. Now, we've heard stories of people who try to establish a business in Kenya but give up due to the hurdles they encounter. Others launch a business and run for a while before quitting in frustration. So this morning, we look at the cost of doing business in Kenya. Good morning. My name is Joseph Warungo, and coming up, how getting into business is no easy business for the faint-hearted. Congo announces the end of the latest Ebola epidemic. Does the law allow vandalizing of property and injuring of civilians when making arrests at private businesses? China's Jiangxing Forest Park slowly recovers after the coronavirus forced strict travel measures. And this morning we're asking you, have you ever registered or run a business in Kenya? What challenges did you face? Share with us on our hashtag #NewNormal. But before we get into the real business of business, let's catch up with the latest situation regarding COVID-19 around the world. The global scene is at this moment 56,558,222 people have so far confirmed positive for COVID-19. Of these, 39,349,808 people have so far recovered, and sadly, around the world, we've lost 1,354,616 people as a result of COVID-19. Moving across to the African continent, this is South Africa. 757,144 people so far confirmed positive for COVID-19. Out of these, 701,534 have so far recovered, and 20,556 people in South Africa have unfortunately passed on as a result of the disease. Here in Kenya, this is our situation. 72,686 people so far confirmed positive. Of these, 49,878 have so far recovered. And sadly, here in Kenya, we've lost 1,313 people as a result of COVID-19. Some of our neighboring states to Uganda, where they're preparing for an election there, 16,905 people so far confirmed positive. Of these, 8,394 have recovered, and in Uganda, they've lost 157 people since they started reporting their COVID-19 numbers. Across to Somalia, 4,000 382 people so far confirmed positive, and we've got 3,384 people who have recovered. And so far in Somalia, they've reported 108 people who've so far passed on as a result of COVID-19. And that's the situation around the world and in our region here in Kenya. So just before we get into our discussion, a look at some of the other stories that we have for you this morning. Now, at Mozambique and Fishhawk beaches in Cape Town, sharks have long been a threat to those who enjoy a dip in the ocean. But great white shark numbers have been dwindling in recent years, with government report blaming their disappearance on killer whales. Killer whales are suspected to be behind the disappearance of great white sharks off Cape Town's coast over the last few years, according to a report published by South Africa's government on Tuesday. The vanishing great whites from the coastal sites, False Bay and Gansbar, have previously been blamed on illegal hunting and overfishing, among other causes. But the results of a study conducted by a government-appointed team of 9 local and international experts suggest that orcas could be the culprits after a pair of killer whales was first sighted in the area in 2015. The Democratic Republic of Congo has declared the end of the country's latest Ebola epidemic after the outbreak killed 55 people over the past 5 months. I'm happy to solemnly declare the end of the 11th epidemic of the Ebola virus in Equatorial Province in the vast country's northwest, Health Minister Eteni Longondo told journalists. The World Health Organization said the latest outbreak had killed 55 people among 119 confirmed and 11 probable cases since it began in June. As during the previous epidemic in the east of the country, the wide use of vaccinations helped curb the disease. The WHO said that outbreak, which began in August 2018, was the country's deadliest ever, with 2,277 people dead. Five people, some of them police, have been killed and more than 10 injured when a suicide bomber attacked a restaurant in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. A police officer and witnesses said the attacker walked into the restaurant near a police academy and blew himself up. The death of 5 people, 2 of them members of the police, were confirmed, and the 10 others were also wounded. Mohammed Abdurrahman, a police officer at the scene, told AFP. The wounded people were rushed to hospital, some of them with serious injuries. Witness Abdul Kadir Hussein said there had been dozens of people in the restaurant when the blast occurred. Many of the people inside were wounded, and I personally saw the bodies of 2 people. The whole area was in a mess as the blast destroyed everything, he said. There was no immediate claim for the attack. Welcome to Your World this Thursday morning, and this morning we are looking at the cost of doing business in Kenya. And my panel are people who are familiar with this territory. Here with me in the studio is Caroline Kioko. She's the head of marketing at Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. This is the authority that advises government on policy issues regarding that business space. We're also joined next door studio by Louis Mwanyi, who's the head of partnership and sponsorship at the Adopt an SME, and also Mr. Julius Yeager, who's joining us via Zoom. He's the Chief Manager, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Taxpayer Services and Tax-Based Expansion at KRA. And our other guest is Tim Matiba, who is a business owner, also joining us for this conversation. First of all, Caroline, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now the pandemic. How has life changed for you? What's your new normal?
Yeah, a lot has changed with COVID-19, and so my new normal first is working from home mainly, and also having children around, my kids. So there isn't much of going out. We are at home, but again we study and we work while at home.
And I know you're a recent mother as well.
Oh, yes. I have a 4-month-old.
4-month-old baby,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
And that baby was had during this pandemic season?
Yes, in July when it was at the peak.
Just at the peak of it?
Just when we were opening up.
My goodness,
yes.
I hope the hospitals were not too bad for you.
They were good.
They were good?
Yes.
Fantastic. Louis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Joseph, and good morning.
Morning again. Now, what's your new normal?
The new normal is very good because at the end of the day, based on the COVID, which now has come to be able to disrupt, what has happened is that it has been able now to bring a lot of innovations. Now we are forced to be able now to become innovative in our areas which we are, because now we've been forced to be able now to look for what are some of the other options we can now be able now to execute our works very well. Initially, people used to have to go to work, but right now you can be able to do your work at the comfort of your home.
Absolutely. Thank you, Louis. Tim Matiba, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Now, you operate on the entertainment space. How has business been for you during this pandemic season?
Honestly speaking, these are tough times. A lot has changed. And, you know, entertainment is a very important sector in this country. So a lot of things have changed. Decisions have been made, and our way of operating has also changed. But it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah. And Mr. Julius Yeager, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Warungu. How are you? Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. We are okay, and things have changed. You've just indicated, but we are doing well. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. For you personally, what has changed? What is your new normal?
My new normal is that I can now not be able to reach our taxpayers. You know, we used to reach them via seminars, and you would go meet them in hotels, talk to them in various gatherings, but that has now changed. So our new normal now, we have to use webinars, and that is our new normal.
Okay. I don't know whether the taxpayers themselves, maybe they are happy that they don't have to meet KRA in person.
No, I think they are happy either way. Even when they used to meet us, they were still happy, but now they are more happier because we are able to reach them faster. They are able to access us without so much challenges, and they can reach us online. And KRA has also made it possible for the taxpayers to reach us online via so many systems that we are running at the moment.
Okay, welcome to the program. So we are asking our viewers to share their experiences of whether you've tried to launch a business, whether you've tried to register a business, whether you opened a business and then closed shop because things were too tough. What were the kind of hurdles and challenges that you faced? Have you got questions for our panel? Have you got questions for the Kenya Revenue Authority? Maybe need advice from them on what to do with your business regarding taxation? This is a place to drive those kind of conversations and questions. So let me start with you, Caroline. And just give us a sense, because I know you try to find markets for businesses, part of your work at the authority. What's the current business environment like, just generally speaking?
Yeah, generally speaking. So let me begin with what Micro and Small Enterprise Authority is. This is a government parastatal that was established through an Act of Parliament, MSc Act number 55 of 2012, and the authority is charged with the mandate of promoting, developing, and regulating the MSc sector. Now, at the authority, I'm the head of marketing, and so as the head of marketing, I'm charged with accessing MSCs to markets, and that involves both locally, regionally, and internationally. Now, coming to the local markets, it has been a good ride, because in the local scene, we have good products. We have good products, and the local market is good enough. However, Kenyans prefer, I don't know why, imported products. That's why the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative, and I hope that's something we as Kenyans can embrace fully. In the regional front, in the ESC region, the Kenyan products are doing pretty well. We have various marketing initiatives within the region. We normally have an annual MSc exhibition called ESC MSMEs Trade Fair. Last year we were in Kigali, and in Kigali there's a lot of reception of Kenyan products, and generally in the entire region. If you go to a place like Burundi, they have so many Kenyan products, and it's also a frontier for the DRC market for the Kenyan products. Okay. So yes, there is a lot of potential in the Kenyan products, but we as Kenyans need to change that perception of that Kenyan products are not so good. No, let's embrace Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, and we'll be making a lot of progress in this country. Oh,
okay, yes. Thank you. Now, Louis, from where you sit, helping especially young businesses, linking them up with mentors who are experienced in this industry, what's been the business environment from what you hear from the businesses that you work with?
I think basically, if I can be able to say now from, because as an adopted SME, if I can be able to say is that what we do is that we're trying, as you said very well, that to link these young entrepreneurs to potential investors. Because when you try to look at, let's say in Africa as a whole, you realize that we have a lot of young people who have that, they have a lot of creativity. There is a lot of innovations. But then you realize that there is that norm in the market where now the perception which is there is that the young people are not very serious. We shy away. We asking why investors are not coming to be able to invest in their businesses. It is just the perception which is in the market. That is when Adopt an SME is coming on board to be able now to actually ensure that the businesses are put out there, to be able to show the viability of them, to be able to show that these people, they have good business. The only what they need is that they need mentorship. They need somebody to be able to handhold them and also show them direction. If you try to look at, I'm giving a case scenario, when you try to look at maybe Kenya as a whole, you realize that many young SMEs who have started their businesses, others, you find that they went to university, after finishing university, they started doing other businesses which is not in line of what they were taught. So they don't know that, they don't really know that business acumen very well. So when somebody started, then you find that the growth is coming out tremendously. So how do they manage those structures? You find that somebody has been able now to get funding, somebody has now been able to, the business is expanding, but now they need now to be trained on that, having that business acumen, so they can be able to proceed. So part of what Adopt an SME is coming to do is that, first of all, it's linking them to the potential investors, assist them with, in terms of training, linking them to mentorship, and ensuring that we're recognizing the excellency to be able to show them actually young people mean business. Okay, thank you, Louis. We'll come into the detail of how that works and experiences there. Yes. But let me go to Tim Matiba. You're currently in business. You started by telling us things have not been great. So how would you describe the environment generally?
To be precise, I'll comment about the club business. It's one of the industries that has mostly been affected by the current pandemic. But again, the reality is that we have to adjust, for business does not have to stop. So we have had several changes that have occurred, especially the way we've been operating prior. For example, you know, we have a government saying that clubs have to be closed by 9. So we come up with new concepts of operating, I would say.
Okay, so it's very difficult because 9 is when club life really starts. 9, 10, 11. So it must be tough.
It's pretty tough, but again, you know, the truth is COVID is there. So again, we have to adjust at the end of the day, it's better than before when the clubs are open. So we have to come up with new ways to see how we can maximize between, during the day and, for us to close at night.
Okay. Now, police officers on night patrol to enforce COVID-19 rules recently broke up a party at Quivers Lounge and Grill along Thika Road. Dramatic CCTV footage showed the moment the officers, armed with clubs, quite literally went to war with the virus, the rule breakers and property at the club. The establishment accuses the officers of using excessive force and damaging property, even though police hold that they were operating past time. Helen Aura has the details.
Saturday, 10th November, revelers had thronged the Quivers Lounge and Grill along Thika Road for a good time and one final fling before the curfew kicks in. But in the last moments of freedom and just the closing time for bars, police officers broke up the party. Police claimed the club was operating outside the legal hours. The officers went on the rampage.
Wakavunja glass, wakachapa kila kitu, mpaka tian, vitu zote system, wakavunja. Sisi tulikuwa ikabidi sasa tulale pale ndani, tukajizuia. Walipiga mpaka mabouncer.
Some of the members of staff were also not spared with their wrath.
It's very bad because they've caused a damage of around 600,000 here. They've even ruined the utensils at the kitchen. Walikuwa wanatupiga pia sisi.
Uhuru atuangalie. Time pia tuongeze kidogo.
The staff at the establishment claim police came at around 8:30 p.m, which was 30 minutes before closing time.
Makalau walikuja before time. Na tulikuwa tumeclear. All the customers walikuwa wamesha left by saa 2 walikuwa shaenda.
At around 8:30 there were no customers here. So the police wali come around 8:40. Kulikuwa tuna workers wana clear bills.
But this CCTV footage shows it was just a few minutes past 9 p.m, the time bars and restaurants are required to close to stem the spread of COVID-19. They claim they have reported misconduct on the part of police officers to the authorities, but no action has been taken so far. Helen Aura, NTV.
Okay, Tim, I'd like to get your reaction to this because you're in this space in the club entertainment sector. This is some of the the mess that has befallen people who are already trying to just get up in terms of raising their businesses.
Like I said, it's pretty tough. But again, even the way the police are trying to administer, their power to make sure that Kenyans, meet the guidelines given by the government, nobody deserves to be beaten, to start with that. So it's pretty tough. For example, I'll give you an example, like a day like Friday. Let's say the normal 8 to 5 job, 5 to 7, somebody is struggling with traffic. So that means somebody gets into a club, let's say around 7. So, the time for them, to order, wherever they are ordering their drinks and food, that is there. And for you to achieve, to close at 9, at 8:30 you have to start closing the bar. So it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible, I would say. It's very difficult.
Okay, thank you. And now we can reconnect with Julius. Good morning again, and we were struggling to connect with you, but I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, I'm able to get you, Banawarungu.
Okay, and I can also hear you a lot more clearly. How, from your experience at KRA, you interact quite a bit with small, medium enterprises. How would you describe the current environment for business?
Of course, the current environment for business is really challenging for them. But the good thing about it is that the small traders have also come out very strongly, and they are meeting the challenges as they are. So we are able to see them come to the office to still ask for facilitation. But most of them are actually able to connect with us online. And I can tell you that because of the new normal, even the small businesses have come up with the new businesses to address the new normal. So our experience with them is that they are very resilient and they are able to move forward with the new normal.
I know that part of your job is to handle complaints especially from small businesses. What kind of complaints do you get?
Yeah, most of the time they are able to talk about processes of enabling them. But I want to explain that as Kenya Revenue Authority, we have put all processes in place to ensure that small businesses are enabled. Actually, what we have done as an organization is that we have formed a fully fledged department that is responding to all small traders within the country and outside. So we have a dedicated division whose mandate is to ensure that businesses are facilitated, because that is our major key mandate, to facilitate trade and at the same time to collect revenue. So we have made sure that a division has been created purely to address the challenges that are being faced by the small traders.
Okay, let's talk about some of those challenges, beginning with Caroline, from your experience again. What sort of challenges do people face either when they're setting up a business or trying to stay afloat in business?
Yeah, let me begin with starting a business. Starting a business requires, you need capital, you need a working space, you need the skills for that particular business. And also for you to stay afloat, you need to continuously innovate in the business processes, not just one process. You need to innovate in terms of how you market, you need to innovate in terms of the employees you keep, and even where you work from. Now, with the COVID-19, there is a lot that business needs to do for them to stay afloat. And the government has done a bit of easing the business environment. It's a tough time for everyone, that we have to acknowledge. But the government has also brought in the issue of a reduction of taxes, the issues of supporting businesses more. Sorry. With the reopening of the economy, the major reason
but this reduction of taxes, we're about to go back to full taxation.
Yeah,
soon.
Julius will tell you about that. But the far we've come with COVID and still businesses going on, it has been the support from government mainly. For instance, if you look at the reopening of the economy, it was basically to make sure that businesses survive, because we cannot say that COVID is over, but we are still trying to make sure that the economy goes on in spite of the pandemic. So that's a lot of support from the government. Then the government also requested banks to restructure their loans facility with SMEs. And that has happened. A lot of businesses have been able to stay afloat because of that. Yes, so there's a lot that the government is doing. Of course, there's a lot we can still do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Luz Momanyi, from your interaction with small businesses, especially run by young people, what are their challenges?
So part of the challenges which the small SMEs are facing is, the first one I can be able to say is that it is lack of funds. Remember, this is a young SME who is joining business, who is starting right now. You realize that when you go to banks now to be able to access credit, the first thing now you need to have is that you ask what is the collateral you have. But remember, as an SME, you're starting your business. You've not been able to get that collateral, so they can be able to use to be able to access that funds. So that is one of the major challenges SMEs are facing. The second one, which probably I'll also be able to mention, is that there is technology. There's a lot of disruptions in terms of technology. So we need to be innovative so that it can be able, especially on this COVID which has been able to come, we need to be constantly innovating. We need to have, the cost of doing business needs to be easy. Access to government services as an SME. There is this access where you can be able now to get like a tender. You realize that for you to be able to access that one, there are certain regulations which you need to be told that your business must have been in progression, let's say maybe 3-4 years for you to be able to access. You need to have done prior for you to be able to access that one. So the biggest challenge now comes that this young SME who has been able now to come, how can he now be able now to sustain on that? How can he now be able to have that access of that one? So some of those challenges, so those are some of the things we're facing, and one of the biggest major we're facing is entrepreneurship skills. As I did mention earlier, that you find that majority of the people running these businesses, they need that to have that business acumen. Okay. Business acumen to be able now to be an all-round person, how to be able to manage your business in terms of expansion, in terms of pricing, in terms of risk, so that can be able to create a sustainable business.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Yega, when we talk about challenges for small businesses, they say you are part of the problem. Not you personally, but KRA, because that's the biggest hurdle when we speak to a lot of our viewers. That's one of the biggest issues they raise, that taxation in Kenya, which is obviously affected by KRA, is punitive. Your thoughts?
My appeal to the small taxpayers and the small businesses is that let them come out. You know, they are not coming out and say that here we are. Now, once they come out, we are here to facilitate them. And I want to mention at this point in time that Kenya Revenue Authority, through the Tax Amendment Act and the Finance Act of 2020, have made sure that the small taxpayers are enabled. You will recall, for example, that we had to come up with the turnover tax. This was purely targeted at enabling the taxpayers, the small taxpayers, be able to do their businesses very easily. But as from where I stand, we are not seeing them picking it up. And this is a better option for them. We want them to come on board. We want them to make use of all systems that we have. At a certain stage, they were saying that because of pandemic, they couldn't access our offices, which is all right. But Kenya Revenue Authority has come up with a mobile app to support the traders. Apart from the mobile app, we have also our iTax, from where they can easily reach us. So we have enabled them. I did mention at the beginning that we have a dedicated division purely to address the challenges of the small taxpayers. And, you know, we are spread all over the country. That is something very critical again for us. Kenya Revenue Authority is spread all over the country. There is no county that you can head to and find that you cannot access KRA services. You can access us online. You can access us through any other system that you want to go through. And so we have really enabled the small taxpayers. What we are saying is, let them come out and say, here we are. How can we be facilitated? And here we are, we'll be able to respond to them. Something else which is very critical is that when it comes to the small traders, what exactly do they require from Kenya Revenue Authority? One, we just facilitate them in ensuring that each small trader is given a PIN that is responsive to the kind of businesses that they do. If you're a sole proprietor, we'll definitely register you and give you a PIN. If you're a partnership, we'll do the same. If you're a company, we also do the same to ensure that you have all the requirements that you need to enable you to conduct business. So as far as Kenya Revenue Authority is concerned, we are appealing to the small traders to come out, reach out to us, go to any of our branches and have access to us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yega. Now, they have come out and they've been speaking to us, and I'll share some of their comments and questions to you in a minute. But maybe first of all to you, Tim, has it been a smooth ride for you as far as taxation is concerned as a business?
Honestly, I would say no, bearing in mind hospitality and, to be precise, tourism is one of the main backbones in terms of the economy of this country. So, not being in business for the last 7 months, I think the government should be lenient enough, or rather the authorities, to reduce, you know, in terms of rates for licenses, for, you know, for taxation of several things that, you know, that are needed in this industry. For example, you know, taxes on, you know, alcohol, taxes on, you know, licenses, basically. So it's been tough. It's been tough.
Mr. Yega, your response?
At the beginning that, you know, for Kenya Revenue Authority, we don't just change the rates on our own. All this normally go through a process, and we always encourage traders, and I can confirm at this point in time that at the beginning of this year, we had a SME Expo, which was held at the Kenya International Conference Center. This was spearheaded by Nation Media Group, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and actually they raised an issue about taxation rate. And one of their major complaints was that why don't we ensure that the turnover tax is reduced from 3% to a lower percentage? And the government came in handy. We have moved the turnover tax from 3% to 1%, and this is the law. So in terms of listening to our taxpayers, I think we have done very well along those lines. And just as I indicated earlier on, we are open to meet taxpayers at any time. If any taxpayer has a challenge, let them always come out clearly and be with us. But as I've told you, what has surprised us is that there is a very low uptake on turnover tax, which to us is going to enable them really do their businesses very well. Because with the turnover tax, we don't even ask them about so many things. It's just about how much have you made in a given month, and just pay 1% of whatever you have made in a given month. And that, to me, is a very convenient way of conducting business. So we want to tell and we want to inform the taxpayers, most of the micro, small, and medium enterprises, that we are here for them. Let them pick up the new rate. It is going to be very easy for them. They'll not even need to carry books of accounts and all that accounting processes. It has been made cheaper for them. So, Bwana Warungu, I can tell you that let our small traders come on board. Where they have any other challenge, we have a listening ear. That is why we are here, and we are here together. As an organization, we'll make sure that all that is done. So we have made sure that we have lowered the tax rate, and then even the non-compliance, there are such scenarios where a taxpayer has not been able to pay their taxes in time. So we normally have what we call penalty. But what have we done along those lines? Non-compliance penalty has just been reduced to 1,000 bob, and any trader, irrespective of their turnover, as long as the turnover is between 1 million to 50 million in a given financial year, the penalty for any failure to file their return in a given month is 1,000 bob only, for those who are on turnover tax.
Okay.
So for us, I think this is very good. Yes.
Oh, okay, Mseiga, thank you so much. Now, Caroline, your thoughts on taxation and small businesses?
Yeah, so small businesses sometimes feel like they should not be taxed, which actually should not be the case. The government has tried as much as possible to make this taxation favorable. And paying tax, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea, as we say. So any business and any SME should be feeling like they need to be part of this economy by paying taxes. Now, as Musea, we've made sure that SMEs and MSMEs do not see KRA as an enemy of business, because taxation is a requirement for you as an SME to grow. Why do I say this? If an SME at some point wants to do business with government, of course you'll have to be tax compliant. And for example, the ongoing programs in terms of assisting MSCs to survive the COVID times. There's a lot of government procurement within the MSC sector. And one of the requirements is you have to be tax compliant. How will you be tax compliant without paying taxes? As Msea, we've also made sure that MSCs can feel comfortable approaching KRA by bringing KRA closer to them. We have what we call Biashara centers, where we have KRA and other government agencies that are required in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And we are going to cascade this organization to the bottom level, to the village level as much as possible. Okay. Right now we have a pioneer one, a Biashara center in Kariobangi, where MSCs can walk in, they'll meet KEBS, they will meet KRA, they will meet Msea, they'll meet KIE, and all those other organizations that are in the entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Okay. Yeah. Caroline, thank you. Now, the National Treasury invited institutions in both public and private sector and the public to submit taxation proposals to be considered while preparing the financial year running between July 2021 and June 2022. Kevin Mutai had this report from Mombasa.
Economists and statisticians are meeting in Mombasa to deliberate on areas the government needs to focus on to ensure a speedy recovery of the economy.
Projection for 2020 was 2.5, which is actually much lower than the normal circumstances, where, for example, last year we recorded a 6.3% growth.
The over 100 officials from different government agencies, together with the private sector, will also be sharing their thoughts and arguments on how to address the ballooning public debt.
Sometimes the government may reach a point whereby it cannot accommodate any more debt, either foreign or local, and the only way to do this is actually to strengthen the public-private partnership, where the private sector is invited to come and participate in the development of infrastructure instead of government borrowing to finance that infrastructure.
A survey conducted by the State Department for Planning reveals that the country lost over 1.6 billion shillings through stalled projects. This majorly caused by duplication of projects by both levels of government.
Kabla tuanze mpangilio wote wa serikali, kama ni chochote inahitajika tumeipanga, tumeipata. Kwa hivyo tukianza mradi hamna mambo ya kusimamishwa pale katikati.
It is at this meeting that the Ministry of Treasury will also set pace, racing against the timeline for the budgetary proposals for the year 2021-2022. Kevin Mutai, NTV Mombasa.
Okay, now, Mr. Yega, back to you, just following up on those taxation proposals. Now, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics conducted a survey in 2016 which showed that a lot of medium and small enterprises feel that they are overtaxed. And one of the issues, for example, is minimum tax is now going to take effect on the 1st of January, which means that you will tax all businesses irrespective of whether they're making a profit or not. And it takes a long time to break even. So when you impose that kind of tax on the 1st of January, this will cripple quite a lot of businesses, especially those who are not making a profit.
Joseph, allow me to clarify at that point in time that it has been observed that there are so many organizations, need not be small taxpayers, even registered organizations who have been declaring losses year in, year out. And the government thought it wise that how else can they contribute to ensuring that we develop our country? So minimum tax is targeted at those companies that who are always saying or indicating to us that they have not made any profit. You know, corporations are taxed based on the profit that they have made. But minimum tax is targeting those organizations who have been in existence for a long time and they have always been declaring losses. And we keep on wondering, how are you being on business year in, year out, and you're always making losses? So that is the scenario. And we're also saying that minimum tax should be taken very seriously by those organizations who do not meet their tax obligation. And we realize that some of the time, this is attributed to the fact that our taxpayers are not truthful in some of the ways they present their details and documentation. So minimum tax is not meant to be punitive. It is actually meant to bring so many on the tax net so that at the end of the day, we all share the tax burden equally within the country.
But Mr.
You
Yega,
can imagine a scenario where, yes please.
But I'm saying,
yes,
but aren't you punishing those people who are doing business and genuinely not making a profit? So do you ask them to pay tax on losses?
No, that is not the issue, Bwana Warungu. What I wanted to say is that, you know, today's topic is about the small traders. And the small traders will definitely not be subjected to minimum tax. That's why we are encouraging the small traders to ensure that they adopt the turnover tax and they will not be subjected to minimum tax at that point in time, Bwana Warungu.
Okay.
And then it's also good that you've just played a clip a few minutes ago, Bwana Warungu, you remember? I did indicate that as an authority, we do not just impose the taxes on the traders. There's a budget process, and you've just seen that communication or that debate in Mombasa. We are asking our traders through their association, for example, through Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where they feel that there's a tax edge that may be so punitive to them, it is them to raise it at that point in time. And we shall definitely be having a listening ear to ensure that that is met.
Okay, the other complaint...
But I still encourage them. Yeah, sorry?
I'm saying the other complaint that we're getting is people who are trading, especially people who import goods, who complain of double taxation. You already pay taxes and duty from wherever you got the stuff from. You come here and KRA also imposes, you know, duty. So this issue of double taxation for traders?
You know, we have various taxes. When you talk of importation, of course, that will ensure that you are charged duty. Import duty is mandatory, and it's not just in Kenya. This is global. So when you talk about, let's say you've imported your vehicle from outside the country, of course, you'll have to pay the import duty with regard to that. But there are certain aspects that you have to also meet as obligation with respect to income tax, with respect to various aspects that you're doing. For example, you cannot run away from VAT as a tax head if whatever you've imported from outside will accrue that kind of a tax head. So as I mentioned earlier on, it is not double taxation. It's that as a country, we have various taxes that have to be done and that have to be made. So I didn't want our taxpayers to see this as double taxation, but we leave that one to the policymakers to ensure or to listen to the taxpayers where they feel that there's any double taxation. But I don't think that we have one at the moment. So if it's being viewed as a double taxation, we are still open to discussion in terms of them presenting that in the debate that is going on towards the budget process. And they can bring it out clearly because they are the experts as well. We are the experts. Ours is to listen to the taxpayers to give us their feedback. Feedback is key for us, Banawarungu, and that is how we even came up with the TOT, because we got feedback from the traders.
Okay, you talk about feedback. We have some feedback actually from some of our viewers who have been sharing their experiences in business on our hashtag New Normal. We've been asking you, have you ever registered or run a business in Kenya? What challenges did you face? And these are some of your comments. David Williams, you say, I started Villafront Consultancy, which renders services in the oil and gas industry. Getting contracts both in the public and private sector is hell for startups, as experience is required. But we shall get there. I think that's a comment I'd like Caroline to maybe make a note of. Sarah Gashini, you say, well, lack of cash to register business, I'm assuming. Thank you for that. Captain Pius, you say, I once ran a business, but it ended in premium tiers. The business ran away from me. The pain was it ran away with my capital. Polisana. This is James Otieno Mboga. You say, I'm doing poultry farming. The middlemen, that's the brokers, are giving me very high competition. Okay, again, my panel is making notes of some of this to react to. Steve Meshach Mark, you say, I registered a business, have never gotten an opportunity to transact any business, but I was told I owe KRA more than 100,000 shillings because I did not file zero tax returns. Mr. Ega, I'd like you to respond to that in a moment. Wamboi Njoroge, you say, government agencies, one allows you to do something, the other comes harassing you, demanding bribes. Okay, it's a very hostile environment out there. Gitahim Guy, you say, I tried to run a business, instead it ran me back. I gave up. Okay. This one is Ino Kongera, the challenge of registering, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Registering a business is quite a hassle. Mutua Patrick, you've written quite a few things here. Well, unprotected local market. I do agribusiness, but Tanzanians flood our markets with cheap produce. Number 2, expensive farm produce because of taxation. Number 3, contaminated irrigation water because government agencies that check on pollution are asleep. Number 4, frequent rise in fuel prices that makes pumping water for irrigation quite expensive. And 5, lack of value addition support structures. So quite a few things there. Caroline, let's pick up some of this. First of all, let's talk about registering, because that's a thing that's coming up quite a bit. People really get frustrated with the process of registering a business. What's your experience?
Now, with the online registration of businesses, it has been simplified a lot. It has been simplified. Of course, there is the bit that MSCs have to do. But then again, it's much simpler than it was sometimes back. That's why even our ease of doing business has improved. From 61, now we are at 56. So as a country, we are making progress. We are making progress in terms of the length of time it takes for you to register a business, and even the offices, the number of offices you need to visit for you to register a business. And like I said earlier, as Musea, we are trying to simplify that further by bringing these agencies closer to the businesses, to the mashinani person. So we are having, if it's an issue of registering with KEBS, we are bringing KEBS on board. If it's an issue of KRA, tax registration, you will go into a certain place and find all these agencies together. So it will be much more easier as an SME for you to maneuver instead of going through around Nairobi, visiting each one of them separately.
Okay. Yeah. Tim, what was your experience when you first registered your business?
I would say it's not pretty hard. Just the licenses that are needed, and basically I will agree with Madam that the process has been easy.
Now it's a lot easier than before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mr. Yige, let me come to you as well for some of the comments that that came in. I'm not sure whether you're able to pick up some of those thoughts that our viewers were sharing, and whether you'd like to respond to them.
Respond to them?
Yes.
There's one which I think is, yeah, but let me respond to them. I'm saying that the first one is that we want to encourage our small taxpayers to ensure that when they are approaching or when they come to for registration purposes and they are looking for what we call the tax obligation, don't pick any tax obligation. It is important for you to appreciate and understand that which tax obligation is relevant to your business. So we are saying and we are encouraging the SMEs to confirm obligations on their PIN. So this is possible because, you know, when somebody says that he registered and without knowing, he found out that he was owing KRA so much money. Now, I'll tell you how that can arise. You register and you go to maybe a cyber cafe, you register at that point in time, and those guys give you any tax obligation, which is actually not relevant to your business. For example, you're an SME, and you are not even dealing in any vertible supplies or goods, and yet they'll give you what I'll call VAT as an obligation. And you see, our policy is very clear that once you have adopted, once you have an obligation of VAT, you will start incurring what I would call, you need to be filing your returns every month by 20th of the following month. So if failure to do that, of course, our system will capture that you failed to file your return. And so you will be thinking that KRA has imposed that. It is not KRA. It is that at the point of your registration, you are assigned an obligation that is not yours. That is why we are encouraging our taxpayers. We are encouraging our taxpayers to ensure that they visit KRA offices whenever they want to register and whenever they are asking for PIN for the organization.
So, Mr. Yega,
it is important to go to...
For this person that we are discussing here, whose complaint is that they registered a business, have not traded at all, but because they did not file returns, they now have an accumulated tax debt of 100,000 to KRA. What do they do?
No, they are supposed to inform the Commissioner of Domestic Taxes that this is our situation. In fact, that's why you mentioned rightly so that I'm also in charge of complaints. Let them reach us through our complaint system so that we know and we address each and every taxpayer who has a given challenge on one-on-one. That way we cannot say that we can't respond to them. We have the option of a waiver, and this is within the mandate of the Commissioner of Domestic Taxes. You are, if you have been given or if you've accrued necessary penalties, we'll definitely listen to them, and that shall be waived based on the Act. And I also wanted to comment on another aspect that is attributed to most of us, and of course wrongfully, that traders would say that when they come to KRA, they are being, that our officers, and I can tell you that our officers are not in any way supposed to be asking for anything or any bribe from anyone. And that is why KRA has gone a long way to give a direct line where you can call Kenya Revenue Authority in case somebody claims to be a KRA officer and asking for a bribe. We don't do that and we don't take that. So we have our lines. You can come to KRA, you can walk to any office. At the same time, of most critical importance is this. If somebody walks to your office, because we have so many fraudsters who will come and ask for bribes, the KRA system allows you or enables you to confirm that the person talking to you is indeed a KRA employee or not. So those are systems that we have put in place by Nawarungu so that all those fraudsters who will be claiming that they are KRA employees can be nabbed on the spot.
Okay.
And we have also gone ahead and ensured that we have a department within Kenya Revenue Authority known as ISO, whose mandate is to ensure that even if it's a gift that you've received, and we are saying that nobody should be giving anyone any gift at any given point in time, KRA services are free. So we are saying that that should not be an issue. And I also want to mention this, Warungu, because it's important. We are saying that there's no double taxation for SME. An SME can either choose an income tax obligation or a TOT obligation. So you cannot pick both. When you pick both, we'll definitely advise you that that is not right.
Okay, so...
All right. And I wanted to also, at this point in time, when Warungu, if you allow me, yes?
Mr. Yega, so just to clarify, so KRA is a corruption-free zone?
That's exactly.
Now,
KRA takes care
is that
of the employees and...
is that only in terms of the notices that we put up, or is that in practice, actually?
No. It is in practice. And I've just indicated a few minutes ago that taxpayer has got the ability to know whether the person talking to him is a real employee of Kenya Revenue Authority or a fake one. And I can give you our numbers. They can reach us through any system. They can reach us through our number. We have DTD complaints at kra.go.ke. It's an email address. Write instantly from your phone, from wherever. Say that somebody is telling me that I need to pay some money. Can you confirm if this is a genuine KRA employee? We'll definitely nab that fellow.
Okay.
So what we have done as an authority, any of our employee who is involved in any act of corruption, we don't have mercy on that. And they are always relieved. And I can confirm to you that KRA is a corruption-free zone.
Okay.
No corruption is encouraged. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ige. We're going to take a short break now. We've got more coming from our viewers regarding their experiences of not just taxation, but the other hurdles of doing business in Kenya. But time now for a short break. We'll be right back with more on Your World. Welcome back to Your World, and this morning we're looking at the cost of doing business in Kenya with a panel of experts. I've got here with me in the studio Caroline Kioko, who's head of marketing at the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. We also have in our next door studio Louis Momanyi, who's head of partnership and sponsorship at Adopt an SME. We're also joined via Zoom by Mr. Julius Yeager, who is the chief manager, micro, small and medium enterprises, taxpayer services and tax-based expansion at KRA, and also Tim Matiba, who owns a business in the entertainment sector and in the world of clubbing. Now, Louis, let me come to you first. Because I know you also work with other countries in Africa or have got experiences of other countries in Africa and, you know, young people's businesses. How would you compare the ease of doing business in Kenya and some of those other countries, like Rwanda, for example?
What I'll be able to say is that in the past like around few years, like around 5 years, the ease of doing business has really improved in our country, because you realize that the government and other agencies are coming on board to be able now to support these initiatives. You see, like the cost of registration when you want to register, you want to register business, the process has been able to be easing up. So within 2 days, you can be able now to have your business. When you're accessing the license, you can be able to get it very fast. The only now, the linking factor which we're finding is the private sector needs to come so they can be able to support now these SMEs. Remember now the SMEs have some challenges which they are doing in terms of remaining afloat and creating those sustainable businesses. So the private sector needs to come on board, and the government needs to ease in more business, more policies to be able to make it easy. When you try to look at a country like Rwanda, when you compare Kenya to other countries, a country like Rwanda, what they have really been able to do very well is that they have decided now to be able to support their innovators, to be able now to ensure that even the production is being done by the country, is being done by and is being consumed by the Rwandese, which is actually something very good because it's promoting innovations in the country. And the other thing which you'll be able to see is that the country has also invested more on research and development. When you look at this country, so that's why you'll be able now to find that when you invest more on research, you'll be able to find that you'll be able now to have new ideas, you'll be able to enroll them within the country, and you'll be able to elevate further. But when you try to look in terms of globally and African-wise, Kenya is not doing badly, is doing very well, because the report which came like last year, you saw that in terms of the internet penetration, we're leading in Africa in terms of internet penetration. A lot of people on social media using that platform. And remember, technology is the driver of businesses across that is the new norm. So as opposed to other countries, when we do comparison, Kenya, we're not badly off. The only thing we need is that we need now to support more of our SMEs.
Okay. Carol, I see you nodding your head. You're in full agreement with what Louis is saying.
True, true. Yeah, as a country, we are far much ahead in terms of IT, and we can leverage on IT for most of the business processes. And so as much as Rwanda may be ahead of us in terms of ranking in ease of business, in Kenya, we still have a lot of positives that we can leverage on and do a lot better in business.
Now, one of the comments that came from our viewers earlier, this person who was complaining about it's almost impossible to get contracts from government or government agencies. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's good that the viewer was optimistic that we will get there. That was his word. So it's good to start from if this is a young person, start with the contracts or the procurements that are targeted at AGPO, the ones that are reserved under AGPO. That way it will be easier to maneuver. Because if you come and you want to start at the top and you are required to have some experience in supplying similar products maybe elsewhere, so it's better that they start at the level of AGPO, the products and the procurements that are reserved under AGPO. It's not impossible, it's very possible. And I can assure you, if they start at AGPO level, they'll be able to get contracts. Then there's also another viewer who mentioned something to do with value addition, that they have challenges in value addition. As MSEA, we support a lot because we want to promote manufacturing locally. And so in MSEA, we provide the working areas, subsidized working spaces, where you can go in and set up your business there. We have work sites as well as the constituency industrial development centers. Again, in these clusters, we also give common user machines. For example, if you're into metalwork, we'll give you a lathe machine for you to be able to run some of your processes in a subsidized manner.
I think his challenge was maybe slightly different because he was talking about if you need water for your businesses. I think he's in agribusiness. How do you know that it's available and it's available? You know, it's clean water that can help in that business. Yeah. Those kind of challenges.
Yeah, he also had an issue of the value addition.
Yes.
For the clean water, in Kenya we need to stop polluting. We just need to stop polluting because these are our rivers, and the water we'll pollute in Nairobi will be used to irrigate a farm down in Athi River. And then you'll bring those sukuma wikis in Nairobi and we'll all consume. So it's a matter of, I think the government agency here is NEMA, ensuring that pollution is stopped. Because if it happens in Nairobi, it affects all the way downstream. But for value addition, let's encourage as Kenyans that we value add our products, because once you value add, you'll even be able to fetch much more better in the market. And then you'll also curb against post-harvest losses.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and to you, Tim, what help, what support is needed in the entertainment sector to, to overcome some of the challenges and help this sector to stand up?
Like yesterday, I think a week ago, Nairobi, Kenya was ranked #1 travel destination in Africa. And hospitality is one of the major backbone that has contributed to this. And that squares down to entertainment. Entertainment is, clubs, hotels. So the government should be a bit lenient with the entertainment, club, hospitality industry in terms of supporting them, minimizing, the fees necessary fees needed to pay.
Okay, and let's have a look at some of your comments on our hashtag New Normal. This is what you've been saying, Nixon Kipkoril. My business, still working on it. To build a good foundation for the business is tough. Challenges, a lot of taxes, yeah, and you emphasize that. Miles, you say City Council disturbing every now and then, okay. And this is, you say, my guy opened a movie shop by saa 4, Kanjo was asking for tea. Haikumaliza wanawa, jamaa kakam, akamshow, amwekee mix. Hivyo ndivyo alishikwa na MCSK. 10K is fine on day 1, na hapo ndio ali give up na your business. Okay, we'll tackle that in a minute. Onyego, you say, lack of conducive environment, poor government policies, lack of grants and support from the government, too much taxes and regulation regardless of the business balance sheet. Okay, thanks for that. Shadrach Kopia, you say, KRA penalties on seeking compliance. Give us a little bit more of that so that I can throw it to my guest. Marian, so many licenses and permits that cost more than the business. Okay, asante. And this is Namrata Patel. Too many licensing and certification requirements, no aid or any sort of respite from the tax regime, especially during this pandemic where most people don't have money to pay. We're still penalized and sent assessment notices with no aid from government. Most will have to shut shop. This one is from Sunny Amwea Debts. That's the biggest hurdle in business. George Gunning, you say business permits and license, if added to tax, magoti inaisha nguvu. Okay, Carol, let me start with you. I'm sure I can see you've noted a lot of those. Now, this whole idea of permits and the kind of documentation, sometimes you wonder whether it's really worth running the business, as our viewers have pointed out. Your thoughts on that? Because your job is to help and advise government to make this space and this environment, conducive for people.
True. Now, all these licenses are important. Number one, they come from different agencies, and different agencies are doing different things for the sector. For instance, if you look at the issues of public health, there is no way public health will be left out if you're handling food. If you look at KRA, there is no way you run a business and you're not paying taxes. If you look at KEBS, there is no way you will need to have your product out there and it's not certified by KEBS. So yes, the licenses...
And then you also have NEMA?
You have
the city
Depending
council.
on the kind of business you are in, you'll definitely have multiple licenses, and they're all important. What we need to look at...
But by the time you add up the cost of all these licenses and permits and compliance issues, especially for someone entering into, young person coming into business, it's not worth it.
Yeah, so what I was saying is what we need to look at is the cost for each of these, because they'll definitely be there. So the cost is what, as a government, we need to look at, because if the cost is too punitive, so many people will shy away from setting up businesses. And that's the only hope we have in this country, businesses, because they run this country basically, because 80%, 90% of employment is in this sector, the MSME sector. And so as government...
And yet we make life very hard for the sector.
We need to look at the costs, the cost of these licenses. The number may not reduce, but the cost can reduce.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure there is a place in this world where they have a one-stop shop for everything, but...
You see, the one-stop shop will be there, but you'll find all the agencies, like I mentioned earlier, all the agencies will be there.
The trouble is not find them online, is that when they come to visit you, it's, like that viewer who pointed out, you will have the city council coming, or do you have a business permit for this? You'll have someone else, or do you have, there's just so many people who knock on your business, and they all demand, and sometimes actually a lot of these people will have all the right documentation, but the guys who come to them are hungry for a bribe.
Unfortunately, which is a crime. No one should be taking a bribe for a service you're supposed to be rendering. So if someone is taking a bribe, that's a criminal offense anyway. But what I'm looking at is, as a government, synergizing all these organizations and having a synergized approach to how you go to this business, because it should not be a case of harassing them. You should be out there to support them to grow, because if they die off, where will you go next? For example, if it's the county government collecting their levies, if that business dies, where will you collect tomorrow? So we all need to have a synergist approach to support MSCs to grow. And that's what MSA is about. We want to ensure that all these agencies approach MSCs from a point of facilitating them to grow to the next level.
Louis, do you agree with all these permits, licenses, and everything that people have to do to be compliant, especially when someone is new in business?
We as Adopt an SME, we really insist on compliance. Because at the end of the day, if you want to have a sustainable business, you need to be able to comply, because as my colleague, the issue is
the cost of compliance.
The cost of compliance might be high. So what I can be able now to advise is that we need to relook on the compliance certification of each SME, and then to be able to see, like especially for startup, they don't need to have those licenses for like somebody who's has really been able to develop in business. We need to relook on that one, because sometimes you find that even you starting a business becomes very difficult, because the cost of acquisition, the cost of accessing that one becomes very difficult. But however, compliance is very essential.
Tim, when running an entertainment business, maybe a club, what sort of paperwork do you need to be able to be legal and compliant?
My
legit?
Goodness. Oh, the numbers of licenses are multiple. And like you said earlier, I agree with you. We should have like a one-stop, let's say hospitality package that, we have MCSK, we have NEMA, we have public health, that comes with food handlers license, we have, KRA. There's so multiple.
What would be your suggestion?
like Caroline said, first, getting rid of the licenses is almost impossible. My issue is on the rates and the ease to access or to get them. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Yeg, I think we can now connect back to you. Do you have any, I know it's not necessarily a KRA area, but you're one of the agencies. There's so many things, agencies, requirements to satisfy these permits and licenses and all that sort of thing. It just makes running a business hell.
If you're getting me, let me say that those requirements are actually necessary for us to be able to identify the SMEs. Yeah, but there's something I mentioned earlier on, which I think is critical for us to put more stress on. Because I wanted to give a number. We are very concerned when taxpayers talk about challenges and more so with respect to integrity of employees. I wanted to give this line, and it's a public line, 0711. It's important that any trader who will have someone coming to their premise and claim that is a KRA employee, you can call the following number at our call center, 0711 099 999. It's a very easy number to get, 0711 099 999. That is very important because as KRA, we are very serious about integrity issues, and it's important that is known. At the same time, it's always good to ask for an identification from anyone who is claiming to be a KRA employee. Ask them for the identification. Which tax service office are they coming from? Yeah, are they from KRA headquarters, that is Times Tower, and which tax station are they coming from? So identification is very critical. Now, coming back to the cost of doing business, Wanawarungu, I want to inform our taxpayers that in Kenya Revenue Authority, you don't pay for any service. Nothing is paid for. Getting a PIN is free. It is free. And I'm happy that MC has indicated something, that we normally have Huduma Center, where all those institutions are placed. Go to Huduma Center. KRA services there are free. Something else which is also coming up was on penalties. And I want to stress this point. We have what we call the due dates, and these are very significant because that is where we may at some stage part ways with our taxpayers. If, for example, you have a VAT obligation, the due date is the 20th day of the next month. So you have your organization, you have your business, and you're supposed to ask yourself, when am I supposed to file my return to Kenya Revenue Authority when it comes to VAT obligation? When am I supposed to file my return when it comes to turnover tax? Now, those due dates, if you miss them and you fail to file, even if you didn't get anything within that month, please file what I call the nil return. These are things that you can do even from your phone. That is how technical, or that is how we have enabled the taxpayers.
Now,
call us. I've given the numbers. Yes, sorry,
Mr. Yega, one of the comments that was made there by one of the viewers is they expected KRA to be a little bit more sympathetic with business during this pandemic season because people are finding it really hard to make, to make money, and KRA will not give them leeway.
I'm saying that I think the word here is not sympathy. The word here is businesses must be there to be talked to. We speak to our businesses. That is why each and every business has got a station that he belongs to. And if he has any challenge, we are there to listen to their challenges. I mean, we live in the same country. If there is any challenge which is so critical, even us will be able to see that instantly, that this is actually indeed a challenge. For example, if you are doing business and your business has been impacted by COVID-19, we'll definitely listen to you and we'll be able to see that surely this business has been impacted upon. So that is why we have our various departments that are there to listen to you. You can come to us as SME head office so that we listen to you and we'll definitely push ahead your issue. And that's why I also indicated to you earlier that we are in charge of also of complaints. If anybody has a complaint, please talk to us, write to us, tell us that this is my situation. How do I go about this? And we are there to listen to the businesses. That is true, Wanawarungu. KRA is really friendly. We are friendly.
Well, not according to...
I believe
no, not according to some of the comments we're getting here. KRA are the last people that anyone wants to... KRA is the last organization that anyone wants to, to cross paths with. I think, in your view, they're friendly, but not from where we sit, not from the business side of things.
Not from where you sit. Okay. Yeah, but I can tell you that if there's anyone who feels harassed by any KRA employee, please let us know. Let us know. I've given you so many numbers. Those numbers are in public domain. You can send us an SMS. You can call. You can even come visiting. Come where we are. For example, I'm based in Samia Business Park along Mombasa Road, even in Nairobi.
Now, Mr. Yeager, it is not the officials that are the problem. It is the taxes. That's all. Everybody's writing taxes in. It's the taxes. They are punitive. They are massive. They're, the people can't cope. You're killing them with the taxes. It's not the KRA officials. It's the KRA taxes.
It's the KRA taxes. Yes, but I just indicated here a few minutes ago. One, we said that when we realized that the SMEs were having challenges coping up with some of the tax obligations, KRA, of course, through parliamentary process, came up with the turnover tax. And I can confirm to you that we are really wondering why these SMEs are not picking or why they're not taking TOT as an obligation. We don't understand why. Let them run there. It is so easy for them. You see, for example, it is only 1%. Let's say you've made 20,000 in a month. What is 1% of 20,000 in a month to the taxpayer? 1%, if I'm not wrong, should be a very minimal figure. Yeah? So if you say that you made 100,000, what is 1% of 100,000 that you're supposed to pay to KRA in a given month? 1% of 100,000 is 1,000 really. That's where I'm coming from. So can you imagine, Bwana Warungu, that in a month you made 100,000 shillings. KRA is only asking you that please, let's build our country together. Give KRA 1,000 bob out of your 100,000. You'll still be having 99,000 you're having yourself walking with them on the street. But that cannot be a punitive tax measure. I believe so. I'm very strong.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Yeager. Caroline, your thoughts? This environment is still not very conducive, I must say, and you can see from all the comments that we are getting. And compliance is, well, yes, compliance is important, but then don't we also need these businesses for this country to thrive?
Yeah, we do need these businesses for the country to thrive. And that's why I said we need a synergist approach to having all these compliances put in place. And taxation, like I said, from the very beginning, taxation is important for everyone to take part in. If you're a business and you envision yourself growing to the next level, please just comply with taxation, because at some point you might need to even trade with government. You might even need to register your business at the next level. You might even need to export. So you need to be tax compliant. Let's look at KRA as a friend of business. I know you've said it's the last agency businesses want to see, but if we look at KRA as a business of facilitating businesses to move to the next level, yeah, we will all comply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Louise, your thoughts on business? We talked about compliance already, but just a quick comment from you regarding what's your advice to young businesses run by young people who, for them to be able to stay afloat?
So my advice because for young people who are running business, for them to be able to stay afloat is that have three suggestions for them. The first one, I can be able to tell that be innovative, because without innovation, there's a lot of disruptions which is happening in the market. Today, there's one disruption. Tomorrow, there's another disruption. So the best thing you can be able to remain afloat in this period, and in whatever you're running business, be innovative. Another area which you can be able to also look at is also embrace collaborations. At some point, you might be able to find that whatever business you're doing outside there, if you be able to synergize and you'll be able to collaborate, you'll be able now to elevate your business very well. The third one, which I'll be able now to advise the business outside there, is that they need to embrace the culture of having that the business acumen in business. You need to have that entrepreneurship skills. Entrepreneurship skills, you might be very good in finance, but you're very good in pricing. You might be very good in pricing, but you're not very good in terms of strategies. And whenever you find that the business of these SMEs, whenever they are growing very fast, you find that the growth, if you're not put structures very well in your organization, will be able to disrupt you. So take it upon your responsibility to be able now to understand the business environment, understand structures, understand all areas, and also be open so that you can now be able to remain afloat.
Okay, Louis, thank you very much indeed. We're going to take another short break now, and we'll be back with more on the cost of doing business in Kenya here on Your World. Welcome back to Your World, and just before we get back into the business of business, let's look at some of the other stories and what else is happening in our world. Now, towering more than 300 meters up the cliff face that inspired the landscape for the blockbuster movie Avatar, the world's highest outdoor lift whisks brave tourists to breathtaking views. The 3 double-decker elevators in central China's Zhangjiang Forest Park zip up the cliff in just 88 seconds, a speedy attraction as domestic tourism slowly recovers in China after the coronavirus forced strict travel measures and lockdowns earlier this year. One of the main reasons we came is that the site inspired Avatar, said Chao Ki, who's traveled to the lift with his family. If you're afraid of heights, that's not a place to be. Vietnam's fragrant noodle soups and fresh spring rolls have won fans across the globe, but mounting food safety scandals on the country's streets are sparking a rising tide of anxiety among millennials about what they eat. Trang Huong, a 32-year-old accountant, spent 2 nights in hospital the last time she ate the Bun Cha, Hanoi's signature pork noodles, gobbled up by former U.S. President Barack Obama and late celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain on a visit 4 years ago. She was rushed to hospital by her husband, and doctors told her there was only one explanation: food poisoning. Lan didn't eat out for a month after her scare, and frequent high-profile food safety scandals have fed other people's fears. Trapped under a mountain of crippling debt, Cambodian farmer Nguyen Reth fears she will have to sell her land to repay microfinance loans that have ballooned due to pandemic-spurred job losses in her family. What started as a $3,000 sum from a loan shark for her son's wedding has now grown to about $7,000, she says, the result of additional financial needs that have crippled up her sons, who crossed over illegally into neighboring Thailand. Previously sent money home to help with repayments, but now they're out of work because of COVID. We could not find jobs and my sons do not have any money, she says, tearfully outside her modest home in northern Siem Reap province. Hong Kong event organizers come up with a plan to balance anti-pandemic measures and city dwellers' thirst for outdoor entertainment. Dubbed the city's first purpose-built venue for the COVID-19 era, the grounds feature 100 socially distanced private pods against the Central District skyline, each sitting 2 or 4 people and keeping at least 1.5 meters from each other. The organizers say they've sold out tickets for the first 2 weeks for events including yoga classes, film screening and music shows.
I think it's safe because there's distance, between each pod. But obviously, with cases coming back again, there is a slight worry. This is something new. I think in Hong Kong you don't get a lot of outdoor cinemas, and because of COVID, the activities we have are very limited. So this is a breath of fresh air.
Kenyan entrepreneurs, are you watching that? Fierce winds and rain batter the Colombian island of San Andres in the Caribbean, causing damage to building and flooding streets as Hurricane Lota bears down on Central America. We're facing an event that has characteristics that have never been seen in our country, says Colombian president. The hurricane strengthened to a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane as it barreled towards Central America late Monday, threatening areas devastated by a powerful storm just 2 weeks ago, the U.S. National Hurricane Center warned. Authorities rushed to evacuate thousands of people from the coastal areas of Nicaragua and Honduras in the immediate path of the hurricane, which was due to make landfall on Monday night. Nurses in downtown El Paso in Texas hold a honkathon in a car caravan to show support for the stay-at-home order in the city, where there have been over 73,000 cases of COVID-19 so far.
We are asking our community to stay at home in order to bring down the numbers. We want to make the message clear that if we don't put stronger restrictions, our healthcare system will not be able to handle the influx of sick patients. Healthcare professionals are putting their life at risk, putting their own personal health at risk for the well-being of our community, but we want to know that our community is doing their part as well. We've lost so many nurses already in El Paso. Nurses who are selfless, who put their lives in the front lines as true heroes do. But you know what? We don't want to be fallen heroes. We don't want any more fallen heroes. We want to know that we're protecting you safely while you all are doing the same for us. It's come to a point where we walk into our shifts feeling defeated, you know. If we don't see our patients getting any better, we don't feel like heroes. We don't. So without the support of our city leaders and the El Paso community, we will continue to suffer these consequences and be dragged down. We should have done stronger restrictions since the beginning, you know, nothing mediocre. We should have done a full-blown shutdown. I know our community is very family-oriented and it's tough, you know, we've all been guilty of it.
The British Health Secretary Matt Hancock announces that Britain has secured 5 billion doses of Moderna vaccine for COVID-19, whose results are encouraging, with a reported 94.5% effectiveness suggested in their preliminary trial data.
You will no doubt have seen the excellent news that Moderna have today announced results from their preliminary trial data, suggesting that their vaccine has an effectiveness of 94.5%. This is another encouraging step forward. Although I stress that this is preliminary, the safety data is limited, and their production facilities are not yet at scale. Should this latest vaccine be approved, the doses would be available from spring next year. And I can announce that we have today secured an initial agreement for 5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine.
Absolutely so. It's brilliant news, absolutely brilliant. It's the second penalty now. That's also gone into the back of the net. So we're starting to feel in a better position.
And today, I know so many people have been relieved to hear that we've started a pilot for testing visitors in care homes, to use tests to allow people to visit loved ones in care homes in a way that keeps them safe and brings back some of those magical moments of social contact.
And Washington, D.C. residents react with hesitation to the announcement by U.S. biotech firm Moderna that its experimental vaccine against COVID-19 is almost 95% effective. I would not get a vaccine that was fast-tracked, says one woman waiting in line outside a testing site.
Well, I just hope that they do a little more testing, do a little more due diligence, and many more trials, because I think that, you know, my fear is that, you know, they'll come out early with something that won't be as effective as it could have been, and we'll risk more lives because people think that, oh, it's over and we can take off our masks.
It looks like all the safety precautions have been taken. I think a lot of the speed was due to getting rid of kind of the normal red tape that a lot of times has to be implemented. That doesn't perhaps necessarily contribute to the effectiveness or the safety of the vaccine.
I personally would not take it.
Why is that?
I just would rather have other people take it first and then see how it goes.
Personally, no. I actually already had coronavirus and back at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm fine. I'm here to tell the story. I know other people are getting it much worse, but I would not get a vaccine that was fast-tracked. I'd probably wait maybe a year or two until it's more known what the effects are of the vaccine.
So welcome back to our discussion on the cost of doing business in Kenya. With me, Caroline Kioko, who's Head of Marketing at Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. We also have with us Louis Momanyi, Head of Partnership and Sponsorship at Adopt an SME. Julius Yeager is Chief Manager, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Taxpayer Services and Tax-Based Expansion at KRA. We also have with us Tim Matiba, who is a business owner, to share his experiences. Now, just before we get into the discussion, there's more of your comments here on our hashtag New Normal. This is Daniel Osiemo Ondiere. You say, I started a small kiosk business in rural Kisii where I could sell up to 3,000 shillings worth of goods per day. But months into the coronavirus period, making sales worth 1,000 shillings is a good day. Things are pretty bad. Okay, thank you so much, Daniel, for that. This is a rusty case, licenses and taxes, too many, too much. Thank you. Mark Witzard Wandera, you say KEBS is doing a whack job. Seal the loops in the KEBS and you see the appetite Kenyans have for local products. Okay, that was in reaction to what Caroline said earlier. Stevenston Okumu, you say you find those who fail to file their returns, especially nil. What are you doing to help those who can't access the internet for filing? That's a question for you, Mr. Yeager. Rather than penalize people, how about helping them be able to file their returns?
Thank you. We as I mentioned to you earlier, we have our officers stationed in so many Huduma centers. And normally when you walk over to our officers, they'll definitely help you file your return at the Huduma center. That is if you are not able to file your return online. That is if you're not able to have access to the internet. At the same time, callers will be able to take you through whatever it is. We'll call you back, by the way. You can send us an SMS, we'll come back to you and let us know your challenge. Even through our WhatsApp, just send us a message that I have a challenge accessing the net. Please, I wanted to file a return and this is my PIN number. We have officers in the back office who will attend to that scenario. So we are here really to support our taxpayers. Anybody with any challenge, yes, yeah.
Okay. Now, Mr. Yeager, just a quick one as well. Many businesses do not go beyond a business name. You register a business name and that's it. It's just impossible to now do the next step of actually launching the business. Do you think you're part of the problem?
Let me say that I don't think so. I did mention earlier on that KRA services are free. They are very free. And something else that we have done, and in this new normal, we are conducting capacity building to taxpayers all over the country through online services. Even through medium, like you've just called us, Mr. Warungu, we are here. All those taxpayers who are seeing us, who are watching us live now, we have given our connections, we have given our numbers so that they can be able to access us. And something which I need to stress on, the people don't progress because of lack of knowledge. We give that capacity. Now, if you form an organization and you do not make a step at acquiring a PIN certificate, of course you will not make any step. Because these are requirements. Even the banks will want you to open an account, they'll ask you for a PIN certificate. So call Kenya Revenue Authority, we are at service, we'll support you.
Okay.
So we are not part of that, yes, and we believe it can be done better. Thank you.
Okay, Caroline, your thoughts on businesses that just stop at the business name?
Yes, we have quite a number that just stop at the business name. And the reason that most of them give is that they're avoiding the issues of taxation, because once they move... Which is
why I asked Mr. Higo whether he's part of the problem. Okay.
Yeah. So once they move to the next level, now they'll be paying taxes. But then again, if you are a growth-oriented SME, you need to look at the bigger picture. Paying taxes will facilitate your business to be able to trade with government and with other formal agencies. Because when it comes to, like, for issue of subcontracting, no one will subcontract you unless you're properly registered. No one will trust you when you're trading as Joseph. So it's good that businesses should move to the next level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to you, Louis, your experience of businesses that just register and that's it, and they stop there?
Very bad business, actually. I've registered and I've stopped working from the same. So probably what I think what needs to be done is that these government agencies, let's say like KEBS, let's say like KRA, they need to pass that information more. They need to ensure that information more reaches out to these SMEs. If you take a look at the responses which you're getting, you realize that there's a lot of SMEs, young SMEs, who are really complaining about KRA. And then from the other side, from KRA, they're giving feedback and they're saying that they have that ease of doing business. So they are facilitated. What can we be able to do? So that means that probably there might be information gap in terms of these agencies. How are they communicating downwards on this information? Is this information really reaching every person like the young SMEs? So I think they need to partner with organizations which are dealing with SMEs to be able to ensure that they have escalated the information down, because once an SME has that information in terms of feasibility before you start a business, you already know that this and this is what is needed. Yes.
And just, Luis, for those who may not be familiar, I know you're in the business of helping young people with their young SMEs, but what do you actually do at, Adopt an SME?
So basically what we've decided is that we have three approaches. What we're doing is that the first thing is which we do is to ensure that we have that youth empowerment and economic inclusion. So on that aspect, what we do on that area is that we ensure that we have like business incubators to be able now to nurture their skills. Then from there, we do customized trainings now to be able to ensure that they have that business acumen to be able to now to elevate to another way. Then we also ensure that we've linked them to potential partners in the private sector who will be able to assist them. Another issue which we do is that we link them to networking activities across Africa, because you might find that as you're starting your business, you're expanding. And as you're expanding, you need to compete in the Africa regional level or the global level. So we link them to other SMEs, other business people from across the country, from also across Africa, so they can be able to network and be able to see that they can be able to elevate their business as much as possible. We want to change that narrative in terms of ensuring that the businesses are well appreciated for young people. The business they are being well mentored, because also we link them to the industry in terms of mentorship. Then they can now be able to elevate, and also information. We bring partners like KRA, KEBS, so they can be able now to give that information downwards, so that it's escalated. So yes.
And now, Louis, how do you choose businesses which you connect with a mentor? And is there a fee that you charge these young businesses?
There's no fee which we charge, because basically what we've done right now is that we've started an approach where we're going county per county, and then once we go that county, what we do is that we do sort of like an award system from each sector, ranging from manufacturing, going to agribusiness, going to all the sectors all the sectors. Then now we'll be able to evaluate the kind of challenges they're facing, who the youths who are doing very well. Then we'll be able now to identify the winners in each category. So
okay.
These winners, that's when now we link them up to the mentors and also the kind of support they'll be able to need on that one after taking them through a training.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Tim, back to my question about that step from business name to now running a business. Did it take you long to make that transition?
It's a process everybody goes through. Mostly people suffer from what we call fear of unknown. And then again, people are reluctant to seek guidance. And this is where consultancy comes in. Many young people just, they have the ideas right, but the implementation is the problem. So this whereby you go seek for consultancy firms, which are there, but many people don't want to use that path.
Okay. Mr. Yeager, there's some more comments. Actually, there's a question that coming for you as well, and this is from Paul Okong, who says, River Road can make identification documents. Go digitize your employees, create a system that generates their identification numbers, and let business people have an app to verify those numbers when those KRA officers visit their business premises. So your thoughts about, you know, being legit? I think that's what this viewer is getting at.
That's meant for me. I did indicate earlier on that we have the system that you use to identify a KRA employee. So we are very digital. From where you're seated, you can just ask them for their ID number, fill in their ID number, and ask them for their employment number. You fill in that number, the system will instantly let you know that that is indeed a genuine KRA employee. At the same time, a KRA employee will definitely not come with an idea of harassing you. If you see somebody coming with harassment tendencies, that is not a KRA employee. That one, call him on the police to have him arrested. We do not encourage our people to harass taxpayers. So that is in for fact, yes.
So what system were you referring to, and how do people know about it?
Yeah, we indicated to you that we now have what we call M-Service. It's an app. M-Service is within the Google app. You download that, and then you'll be able to see. It's easier to use, and we're able to market it through our Twitter accounts. We have made it public, and these are the services that we want our taxpayers to adopt. I know there's a scenario where some taxpayers are indicating that they are analog, but we are saying that ask your neighbor, you have that app online, so reach just through the mobile app, the M-Service, which is within Kenya Revenue Authority.
Okay.
You can make use of that one to identify a genuine KRA employee, yes.
And I'm assuming your officers therefore know that they should expect people to ask them for their IDs and their identification.
That is true, Warumbu. A KRA officer must work with an identification. And we are telling our officers that whenever they visit any site, the first thing to do is to produce their identification. And then also even inform the taxpayer that if you want to confirm that I'm a genuine KRA employee, use this app, you will get a message that I'm indeed a KRA employee. That is now a message to all our KRA employees.
Okay, thank you. Now, Caroline, on to another challenge, which is the missing middle in business. I know that's something that you're concerned about.
Yes, yes. So many businesses, like you mentioned, they stop at the business name. The MSCs that we have are largely informal, and we always stop at micro, small. They don't want to move to medium.
What's the reason for that?
Not because they don't want to move,
yeah,
but they rarely get to medium. Very few get to medium. For example, if you move to medium and you've registered as a company, KRA will require you to pay corporation tax. But the main challenge that most of them find in moving to the next level is one, financing, and two, markets. Financing, because for you to move to the next level, you'll need to inject extra capital. The banking environment in Kenya has improved, yes, but we still have so many MSMEs who are finding challenges in accessing financing services, because you'll be required to, for example, give collateral. If you're a young person, you rarely have that collateral. And for you to move to the next level, again, you need this financing. The terms may not be so favorable if you do not have the collateral. Then when you come to issues of markets, if you start a business today and you're selling a product, chances are in the next 2 years, you'll have saturated your market, your immediate market. So you need to expand. For you to expand, you need to be innovative in the approaches of reaching a bigger market. You can move to an export market level. You can also expand if it was in a small area to a bigger, maybe covering the whole country. But then again, the cost of that marketing initiative. So that's why most businesses find it hard to move on. As MUSEA, we will assist you with marketing. Marketing at a very...
So you're open to businesses approaching you for help and for knowledge and for guidance?
Yes, yes, yes. That's our business.
Okay.
Our business is to help your business move to the next level.
Okay.
So as MUSEA, we will take you to a market We will organize an exhibition and give you space for you to market your products. And most of these exhibitions are very subsidized. You will pay like 1,000 Kenya shillings for a stall at, let's say, Nairobi International Trade Fair, where someone coming from elsewhere will pay like 50,000 to get a similar stall. Okay. So as MSEA, we're in the business of making your business move to the next level. Approach us for marketing services. For financing, we have the MESI Fund, which is still at a very low level. It's still being operationalized. It's set up by an act, and so we are actually in the final stages of operationalizing this fund. Okay. Once it's operational, the issues of financing again will be sorted. But again, for now, we have the credit guarantee scheme. All right. Yeah, so MSCs can leverage on that.
Thank you. Now, we're into our last few minutes, so maybe some closing thoughts from you, Louis, first.
What I would like to say is that as SMEs in this country, we just want, young SMEs in this country want to say that young people actually mean business. We want to call upon the people from every private sector, all government agencies who have that like-minded aspect that they want to elevate these kind of businesses to be able now to come together so can be able now to partner and be able to assist them. SMEs in this country have a lot of creativity, they have a lot in mind, but now they need somebody now to be able now to assist them in terms of injecting capital and in terms of these partnerships to be able to elevate them. Okay. As I always say that the government always creates an enabling environment, but also at the end of the day, us as young SMEs, you need to also show commitment. Because if we don't show commitment, we'll not be able to go elsewhere. Okay. So let's come together and let's proceed together. Okay, thank you. Okay.
To you, Tim, your final closing thought?
I would say mine is a challenge to the government agencies to be more of a part of the business and to break the barrier in between that has existed, that agencies being perceived as enemies and all that. But also Kenyans also to change their perceptions also when it comes to approach in government agencies as well.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And the final thought to you, Mr. Yeager. Now, when I speak to you, you come across as very friendly, but can those taxes of yours also be a bit more friendly?
Yes, Warungu, Kenya Revenue Authority is very friendly. And as you correctly put it, and I did indicate earlier that for this tax brackets and rates, we are always asking our taxpayers to give their proposals on where they think that certain taxes are on the higher side of punitive, so that we can take care of that. But Warungu, my final comments and thoughts is still on identification of our staff members. I'm asking taxpayers that you visit the website of Kenya Revenue Authority. If you visit our website from wherever you are, even on your phone, and you will see their complaints, you will see their fraud. You can report fraud on the website. And on the very website, there is also an opportunity for staff verification. Ask the staff about his ID number. And ask that staff that log into the website here, feed in your ID number and your personal number. If it is indeed a KRA employee, that system will give instant response. In your shop there where you are with that fellow who is claiming to be a KRA employee. If it's a genuine one, it will be instant. That is very critical for us for our room. Okay. We need to get the right people handling KRA business. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yeager. We're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning from KRA, as well as Caroline Kioko from Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. My thanks to Louis Momanyi, Head of Partnership and Sponsorship at Adopt an SME, as well as Tim Matiba, who's a business owner. So that's all we have time for. Now, tomorrow is World Children's Day, and with COVID-19 still causing havoc around the world, we'll be hearing from a number of children on how they reimagine the world. That's it for me. Thank you so much on behalf of the NTV team and crew, and for your attention over the last 2 hours. Thank you very much indeed. Join us tomorrow. We kick off as always at 6:30 a.m. with our workout session, courtesy of our fitness trainers, giving you instruction from their homes, and you take it from your own homes. So stay safe and have a good day.